So in 2024, in last 3 months, so like September, October, and November, I booked like 7 weddings and then like 12 to 15 e-shoots
Uh-huh.
worth of 75K.
Ooh, congrats. Congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
huge, man.
Yeah. And then I literally doubled my e-shoot package, like the pricing of that, because I was getting so many leads.
Yeah.
So like I used to charge somewhere around 350 to $750, and then now my package starts with $1,100 and goes up to like $2,000 just for like e-shoot. Like before the third time I joined the program, actually my wife asked me this question that do you really want to join this program again because it was investment. And then but in my mind I knew that I haven't implemented everything. So first thing, like in my mind there was no other way, it was only one way, and then on that path I'm gonna be like successful with photographer and videographer. So I worked on my mindset. I wasn't like too emotional about my content in terms of like ads,
Hmm.
because some of your best work doesn't work and it's
Yeah.
fine. So I worked on my ads. Like I have tons of videos and photos which I can like test. So I invested like in editing and everything. So I made like really good portfolio to run on ads. I did like a lot of practice with like the people from our coaching, and then also every sales call I took it as a sales practice. Even if I don't book, I'm getting like a practice, a
Yeah.
real time scenario. And then you also help me with like some of the critic on the those sales call, and that really changed everything. You know,
Vishal, what's up, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh? It was your dream to be on an interview. Years later, here
Yes,
we are.
yes, I was ready for this.
Cool, man. Well, do you want to just get started then?
Yep, let's start.
Awesome. Well, Vishal, welcome, dude, to this client interview. I know you're based out of Toronto. You've been crushing it inside our program lately, but you've been working with us for what, 1 or 2 years now, right?
Yeah, one and a half year. Yeah.
Love it. So, why don't you start off with introducing who Vishal is and what your business is all about?
I was actually thinking about my journey today because of the interview. So like I was doing $160 a month job in India, and then I moved to Canada for like better opportunities. And then I started my photography just before the COVID, and then the COVID started, and then I was learning all of the photography through YouTube. So I assisted a lot of photographers, videographers. I attended like lots of workshops, but I was only focusing on my like photography and videography skills. And then I realized like even though my work is good, I wasn't getting like enough bookings. And that's how like I was looking for something so that I can like increase my bookings. And then I wanted to make this like my full-time thing. So yeah, that's the journey for me, pretty much.
Yeah, beautiful. How long did it take you to realize that good work isn't enough, that you have to actually market and promote yourself?
I think 2 to 3 years, because I worked with like photographers, I worked with videographers. I like most of them were like South Asians, but I also worked with a Canadian photographer for 2 years, and I was like, maybe I will be able to make my business full time with the referrals, or somehow I'll make connections, and then that will get me booking. But it's hard truth, but like if you want to run your business, then you have to like make some moves or like work on your marketing sales. Otherwise, I think nobody is gonna give you business.
Yeah, 100%. So you were shooting with other people, then you decided
Yeah.
to make your own business. That's like the natural progression. What were you
Yeah.
doing during that time for marketing?
I was like randomly boosting my post on Instagram, and I saw some traction there, but it wasn't like calculated. And then I was always like seeing people taking calls from like couple from 2025, couple from like 2026, and then I was always amazed like how they are getting booking like 1.5 year early. Yeah, so that made me curious. Like there must be some system
Yeah.
that is getting a booking like that.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. Um, and then how did you end up coming and working with us? Like what caught your eye that made you feel like, okay, I should be part of Rapid Bookings?
To be honest, I was like, I saw your ads like a lot of time, but I registered myself because it felt like a scam. Because the title was like book a wedding with $10 budget per day or something like that. So I was like, I'm boosting my post more than that,
Hmm.
and I'm not getting booking. I'm sure this is like some kind of coaching program where like the educator earns the money. So that's why I registered most of the times, and then I think maybe seeing the ad like more than 10 times, I that made me curious. Like, let me check out what it is about, and then I checked out the free video. So yeah, that's how I think that was my first consultation with Christina. Uh, and I don't know. At that time, I wasn't like even sure after the consultation. But then my wife told me it's like if you'll get like one wedding, that will pay the fees of like the coaching,
Yeah.
and like let's try it. Yeah, so that's how I got into rapid bookings.
Yeah. You're not alone. A lot of students have felt that. I think in the wedding industry, people are very cautious in terms of like investing. There is lots of like programs out there, lots of people like running ads, making claims. I personally see that all the time. So if you don't mind me asking, like, what was your biggest concern? Like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, the program wasn't going to get you results, or it was actually a scam, like your money was just going to be taken away and you never see it again?
No, so I actually made sure that it's legit because I reached out to Satish, and I also reached out to like Jeff
Hmm.
from LA. So I found all of those photographers, videographers
Got it.
who like took this program earlier, and then they were kind enough to like message me back that it's a solid program, but you have to like work really hard. And
Hmm.
I think that made me sure that like there is something about the program. Yeah,
Got it. And then finally, your wife gave you the encouragement.
yes, yes.
That's super nice, man. It's great to have somebody supportive. Not a lot of people have that at home. Um, so let's fast forward. You join. What happens? Because you've been with us like 1.5 years, and it's been like results just was like this, and then you went kind of like skyrocket. So let's start at the beginning, and then we'll get into the portion about when you started to skyrocket.
Yeah. So when I started, first of all, I'm like super lazy. So I don't work on anything like super quickly. But I remember I finished like first module in 2 weeks. And then I got busy with weddings. It was about like July, August time. And then there was personally some stuff was happening. So I just like let away, like pass away the program, and I didn't touch any module. I didn't work on my ads or anything. And then before I realized, like the 6 months were getting over because I already knew like the sales script. I know I have to give it like more time. And I wasn't gonna take like no from anyone. And then I wanted to be successful, so that's why I again invested the money. And then like for the next 6 months, even I booked like weddings about $10,000. It wasn't like suddenly everything was working for me, but for the next 6 months, I got like three weddings booked. Uh, and I found out the reason for that because I wasn't good at my sales.
Hmm.
So like I worked on my sales, and then like I booked like more weddings.
Got it. So just talking about the beginning part of your journey, when you first came in, what was your first impressions? When you were first going through the modules, the course videos, did they make sense to you? Was there like big aha moments where you realized like, oh, this is what I was doing wrong? Or were you like, oh, this is all crap? Like, what were you going through?
I was definitely amazed by the mindset training because I think that's the first thing that I had to work on myself. And so I was like amazed by the mindset module, but like the sales script, like I think that made me 100% believe that, okay, this is the system. Like, and then I remembered my call with Christina, and like she followed the same thing. So like it all made sense in my head. And then I think when I saw the sales script, like that was big aha moment that this is definitely a solid program. I just want to like invest in that and like work on myself.
So, what was your biggest sales hurdles? What do you think kept you kind of stuck for a long time?
I think belief.
Hmm.
I couldn't believe myself that first of all, I can take sales call on Zoom. I was only using like mail, Instagram messages. I couldn't believe that one day I'll be taking all my calls on Zoom and then I'll book the clients on the Zoom meeting. So I think belief was that was the main thing missing.
Got it. So, how did you finally install that belief that you could do it too?
All because I worked on my mindset. Like I stumbled upon some of the content from like Joey Dispenza and then Bob Proctor,
Yep.
and then I used like all abundance meditation and then other thing to revive myself. Maybe a year ago, when I somebody if told me like no to me on sales call, like I would be devastated. But
Mhm.
right now, I'm in completely different mind space. If I find out like the client is not ideal for me, and it's good if we don't work together, and it's completely fine for me. So like I think the mindset completely changed.
Yeah.
So those meditation and then I think self-belief and everything, I think that was life-changing for me.
Yeah, this is awesome. So, what's your mindset now? Like, if you don't book somebody, if you get quote unquote rejected or whatever, because I'm sure in the past it was painful because it probably felt like a personal attack, like, oh, they're
Yeah,
rejecting
yeah.
me, they don't want to work with me. Oh, I want to avoid this pain, so I don't want to talk to people on a call. But how do you think about it now?
I would say like don't be superficial, but like don't be too emotional. So like I see myself as booking weddings worth 200K.
Hmm.
So anyway, I'm gonna reach to that point with or without the call. And then I know some statistics. So like suppose if we talk about like August wedding, like for first week of August is really busy uh, month in terms of like wedding bookings. So if I don't book a wedding for like those dates, I'm sure I'll be getting like a new wedding. So yeah, that's what like I think changed.
Yeah, you're not feeling desperate anymore. Know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you're going to be
true.
successful regardless of whether this person books with you or not. You're still going to hit your goals this year.
Exactly. Yeah,
I love that. Look at that confidence in you, and this is a huge shift and change. So,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I remember you asked me like, "What's your fear?"
Yeah.
And then that was like it really made impact on me that what I'm like fearing. If I don't get one call, there is like enough chance and there's like enough system in place so that I get like more leads and I can convert them into appointment and everything. So I think that question was really good.
Yeah, I think that was like 6, 7 months ago. We had that call, and I remember asking you
Yes.
that. This is very deep topic. So can we get into this? Like when I asked you this, I kind of remember, I kind of don't remember, but do you mind sharing like what you thought your fear was? Like what is that thing that you were avoiding and how did you overcome that fear?
Yeah. So at the time I wasn't booking like many calls. And then I was really struggling with my ads and everything. So I was really worried because in my head I was like, if this doesn't work, I won't be able to do this full time. And then that made me like really desperate in terms of my like all the behavior, even like the daily life or sales call or anything. And then I shared my thoughts with you, and then you asked me like, what's your fear? And then when I think it through, I was just fearing like, if this doesn't work, what should I do? What will I do? And then, but I had enough money on my bank account. There are enough system in place. Like my wife is working, and then it was like basically a mind block. I would say there wasn't really real fear, and I think that question, your answer, that made me realize that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, to anybody watching, usually we have something that we're afraid of, like, oh, I don't want to fail in business. But then behind that fear, there's actually the root cause of that fear. Like, you don't want to fail because you're thinking, oh, if I fail, I'm going to become homeless or I'm going to go into debt, like crazy, crazy things. But then when you actually look at your fear, shine a spotlight on it and ask yourself, well, what's actually the chances of such a thing happening? And then you'll realize, yeah, it wouldn't get to such a degree. Like, especially in today's society that we live in, like in North America, it's a very safe, secure society. Even if you have
Yeah,
debt, the government allows you to wipe that debt clean and start over again. So we live in a society where we protect and take care of each other. So being homeless is like so far-fetched. And there's also other types of fear. You're like, oh, I don't want to go to this event. And it's like sometimes I feel that too. I'm like, well, why? Why am I scared? And it's like, oh, because I'll be judged or this and that. And it's like, well, what's going to happen if people judge me or make fun of me? And then you realize, well, nothing. I'm being silly. I'm acting like the 5 or 6 year old version of me rather than the adult version of me who is capable and smart enough to take care of myself.
100%. Like when you're talking about this, I'm thinking in my head like it was fear for me all the time. When I
Mhm.
wanted to join the rapid bookings, it was the fear. What would happen if this program doesn't work?
Yeah.
It was like fear that what if I wouldn't be able to close the sales call? So like I'm thinking right now, it all makes sense. And right now, I'm not like driven by fear. So that's the difference.
So liberating, right? Like you
Yeah,
finally have freedom out of this fear.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's always like that, man. And I'm not saying this for anybody watching to be like, oh, I need to join Rapid Bookings or anything like that. It's like, oh, I'm stuck somewhere and I see a way to get over this state of being stuck, whether it's a coach, consultant, whoever, some person that could help me. And then it's like, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? And then you come in and then you have more fears or whatnot. But the question you have to ask yourself is, what if it all works out? What if
Yeah.
it all works out? Then what? How much better is that scenario than always looking at the glass half empty and being pessimistic and thinking that, oh, this is that, like I can't do this. And also, Vishal, think about it like if you have a game, like a sports game, like football or soccer, like can you win that game with just defensive moves?
No.
So you have to play offensive as well. And this is why the majority of people in business never succeed. They remain stuck is because they're trying to play defensive. How do I avoid failure? How do I protect myself? How do I stay in my comfort zone? How do I not invest the money before I see 100% returns? And it's just crazy. And they're playing defensive, and that's why they never get anywhere.
Yeah, I think people become very pessimistic based on their past experience, and then they don't even like give 50% positive chance.
So I'm curious, what kept you going when you had that mindset block, fear was blocking you, you weren't booking clients, even though, you were getting calls, but you weren't getting as many clients booked and sales as possible. How come you didn't say, you know what, screw this program, like I'm out, I don't want to do this? What, why? What happened?
Like before the third time I joined the program, actually, I my wife asked me this question that do you really want to join this program again because it was investment. And then, but in my mind, I knew that I haven't implemented everything which was taught. Like in my mind, there was no other way. It was only one way, and then on that path, I'm gonna be like successful with photographer and videographer. So I worked on my mindset. I wasn't like too emotional about my content in terms of like ads,
Hmm.
because some of your best work doesn't work, and it's
Yeah.
fine. It's not work like ads require like different kind of photos and videos and everything. So I worked on my ads. Like I have tons of videos and photos which I can like test. So I invested like in editing and everything. So I made like really good portfolio to run on ads. I worked on like my sales. I did practice with like the people from our coaching, and then also every sales call, like I took it as a sales practice. Even if I don't book, I'm getting like a practice, a
Yeah.
real time scenario. And then you also helped me with like some of the critic on the those like sales call, and that really changed everything. And then I made sure that I attend like 90% coaching calls, and then I ask questions that this is not working for me. Like this part in sales practice is not working for me, like, or I'm like feeling not good about this. How can I improve?
Yep. Yeah. Cool. So, and then what was the results after your breakthrough? Talk about revenue, clients booked, all that stuff.
Yeah. So in 2024, in last 3 months, so like September, October, and November, I booked like 7 weddings, and then like 12 to 15 e-shoots
Uh-huh.
worth of UK.
Ooh, congrats. Congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
huge, man.
Yeah. And then I literally like doubled my e-shoot package, uh, like the pricing of that, because I was getting so many leads.
Yeah.
So like I used to charge somewhere around 350 to $750. And then now my package starts with $1,100 and goes up to like $2,000 just for like e-shoot.
Yeah. So it's like more than tripling your price.
Yes. Yes.
So how does it feel to go through all of this, to have that major breakthrough, to be making 75K in the last few months, just 3 months?
Yeah. It honestly feels amazing. Like I can't believe this happened. Like I know you always used to say that sales is like everyday conversation. It's like you are convincing someone to do something. It's like how you do it every day. And then I can't say I'm like super successful in sales. I just make couple comfortable during the call. I just follow sales script, and then that's like giving me result. So it's honestly like unbelievable.
That's awesome, man. So yeah. Well, since you've been in the industry, now you're hiring other people. Why do you think most photographers aren't successful? And there's photographers out there with like gorgeous work, they've been featured in like Vogue and other magazines, but they have no clients.
I think I can say multiple reasons, but one of the things, I think they don't believe in themselves. Like they feel like their work is not enough. It's their work which is not getting them clients. And the reality is different. Like I always say, sales and marketing is more important than the actual photography and videography skills. You can be average photographer and videographer and still become very successful photography and videography business person. So I think they don't spend on marketing. They don't have a system. And I am really grateful for the program because I have seen like really big photographers and videographers struggling this year. I think it's very kind enough of them that they are sharing this everything. But 2024 and 2025 is like super tough to get like good clients and good bookings. And I'm super grateful that with the program, I have booked wedding till like September 2026, which I never imagined.
Dreams come true.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what do you think your advice would be for somebody that is in your shoes like before, wanting to join, but they're like, this is like maybe not legit, this is scary, or this is a scam? What would you say to that?
I was actually going through a podcast, and then I find this paragraph that really resonated with me. I want to read it first, and
Please.
then with that, I'll give you the answer.
Yeah.
Uh, So there's a book called Third Door. So like a life business success, it's all like nightclub. There are always three ways in. There is the first door, like main entrance, where the line curves around the block and where 99% of the people wait around hoping to get in. There is a second door, the VIP entrance, where like the billionaires, celebrities, and all the people born into it slip through. And there is the third door. No one tells you this, but there is always the third door. It's the entrance where you have to jump out of line, run down the alley, bang on the door 100 times, crack open the window, sneak through the kitchen, and there is always a way. So, Mahmood, you were that third door for me, and that made uh, possible like this many bookings for me. And you literally like I'm through 3 years forward in my career just because of you. I worked on a lot of weddings with other photographers, videographers, like more than 50 weddings. But that didn't give me chance to work on my own weddings. And then with Rapid Bookings help, I'm able to like book 9 weddings and still counting. Yeah, that's what program did for me.
Man, I am so grateful, honored, humbled. That is like the nicest thing anybody has ever said about rapid bookings or me, and the most beautiful way to describe that. Like shit, I don't even know what to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, man, what's next for you? What do you want to accomplish in the next, let's say, 2, 3 years? What's the dreams and goals for Vishal?
Uh, I'm aiming to like book 2025 and 2026 completely.
Yep.
I want to go full time doing this. I'm still doing my other job, but I want to become a full-time photographer, videographer. And then right now I'm charging like 10 to 12K average wedding, but I want to reach like I have done my research. I can go up to like 20, 25,000 per wedding.
Yep.
So in next 2 years, I want to like reach there.
Beautiful, man. And before we wrap up, any last things you want to say just from your heart or any comments?
Uh, yeah, if you're still thinking about whether to join this program or not, just join it. Like it will change your life if you follow what's being taught. Uh, don't wait like me for a year and then join the program, but like just do the thing.
Beautiful. Well, thank you.